Everyone's fun video of the week. The big buys for round 9 heading into Magic Round, and there's actually a fair bit to think about with weather potentially around now, which is upsetting. I thought it was going to be pretty sunny, and weather apps kind of changed things around, and the field got chopped up last week, and apparently they're going through and doing some turf removal and adding some new stuff in and trying to get it ready for this really big week, because they've got games on Thursday night as well to go along with from Friday all the way through to Sunday. So maybe it's a thing of, you want your attacking players to play in the first half of the round and all this type of stuff. So super excited to go through all of it. I'm going to kick it off with Aaron Clark, but before we do that, guys, jump in the description. We've got all the information on what you get in the private group. I know we've just removed the Discord. We have a new Facebook group as well, which is down there as well, that is open to everyone. If you want to pay $30, you can jump in the private crew. I've got a meetup this weekend at Magic Round. I've got one in New Zealand. I'm going to do one in New South Wales as well. So a chance to meet like-minded people. I'm putting a bit of a bar tab on and things like that as well. So, and giving away a hat in the JB special at each of those as well, which will be good fun. So get in the description, check all that stuff out, have a read, and see if you're interested in joining that, getting my thoughts early, getting your questions answered, all that good stuff there with prizes and everything available. Aaron Clark, price of 48 now. It's pretty wild. That price is, it's moved up quickly, and a low break even again. We should see him quickly move ahead of, and above 700K. Now, will he stay there? That's the question. Does he need to? Is this a pick where, look, playing at 13 in the hooking position can be pretty important for us? I think so. That's probably the big thing with it. And his scoring has increased dramatically. And the big reason for that is he's actually looking for the offloads, and he's tackling so much more. So in those first few games, he went 24 and 22 tackles. And that's really increased, and his lowest since then has been 28. That 28 was in a 44-minute effort. And since then, he's had 49, 42 into 60 and 64. Now, this last few weeks, you could put that down to 1, Dylan Walker leaving, and 2, Fish being out. Yes, you can also put it down to him playing better footy and being close to one of their most important players. Now, I don't think that the 60-odd minutes is going to be going long-term. I think he has a good chance he plays that 60-odd minutes this week. Apparently Fish and Laban might be back next week, if not the week after. And I think that does drop him down a little bit. I have him somewhere between that 50 to 55 minutes going forward, just with how important he's been playing. Now, the tackles on the weekend, I think, was a big outlier. The offloads at 4 was a bit of an outlier as well. But if you can look back to the 2 games before, even the 3 games before, he had 30 tackles, couple offloads, 4 tackle breaks in 49 minutes for 50 points. That was great. He ended up playing 42 minutes in the game that Fish got injured, which was weird. But that first game with Walker out, he played 49, which was a jump from before. So I personally think at an average, we'd probably see him somewhere between the 50 and 55 minutes, which with his PPM this year is very, very good at a 1.03 with that massive game on the weekend. If you compare it to the game before, he had 53 in 60 minutes, which just included 29 tackles, 2 tackle breaks, 1 offload there. So that was a pretty sort of normal, I'd say, game for him. And if he can get anywhere near that 60 minutes, then games like that 53 will come. And then other games like this 81 with the try assist as well, it'll probably be closer to the 60s. And that'll be sweet. But the reason you are buying Aaron Clark is because of the hooker position, for one, but that mid help in round 12. You might play him as your round 12 hooker. You might just have him as a mid. Either way, it's very, very helpful. Look, he doesn't play round 15 and 18, but I do think there's a decent chance that we have him as about a 6-week play with Cowboys this week. Canberra in round 12, probably likely to play him in round 13. And then he'd be in your 17 in round 14 with a few Roosters probably going to be out as well. And then maybe he's a sell come 15 in this situation. He doesn't help. He doesn't help in... you don't really need him until, for hooker anyway, until round 19. I think when Mamazelis has his next bye. So he's just a really, really helpful player for this section of games, which I think is probably all you need. And if you are playing him as a mid in round 12, I think he's going to be one of the better scorers. There's probably like 4 guys that are better than him. But He has an 80 in him as well. And if you're playing him in hooker, then he'll be one of the better hookers in round 12. So a guy that you're picking up, probably a little bit more expensive than you'd want. It's not ridiculous. You're not buying him at 700k after the 80, but you do have to take that into account that you're probably not going to get the value out of him that you'd want, but I think you'll get the points most likely. And look, if it happens to go poorly, as a starting lock there, you see his lowest score is 40. So how poor is that actually? That if he's got a 40 in him and then he's got a 50 or a 60 or an 80 in him, it's probably going to round out somewhere near where he's averaging now at 51 or at least the 48, which means you're getting him as a helper for round 12, a helper as a good scorer over the next few weeks and a better 17 scorer, and a guy that you can move on later down the track with Aaron Clark, I think is where you need to look at him. He's the most brought in player this week, and I think there's people talking for and against, and I completely understand that, and I'm laying it all that out there. But I still think overall he's going to be a good pick. Because then you look at Wade Egan, and he's priced at 52, coming off a really, really good score of 72 with a try. Got Tamati Martin on the bench this week, and I think that's a point I did mention in Team List Tuesday, but didn't mention just then about Clark as well. I think that helps him for minutes this week as well, and we'll see if that sticks next week when Fish, or the week after when Fish comes back. I'm unsure, but Wade Egan's been very, very consistent this year. The thing is with him, you're buying him at pretty well his peak. He's going to go up a little bit more after that 42 break even, potentially. But we know his history. You could look at Wade Egan buying him at 702 and go, yeah, that could work, and it might, but it also might backfire for you. You don't have him as a hooker in round 15 and 18, which guys like Mamazelis can cover for you, which is sweet. But if you have Mamo and Egan, which one do you play in round 13? Which one do you play in round 16? When they're both available. That's going to be the tough question, that you have to leave one of those good 50-point scorers out of your side. He's averaging 58 for the year, priced at 52, so you can look at that and go, well, he's scoring better than where he's priced at, and that's completely fair. But maybe that means you're selling Mamo, or you're just happy to miss out on his scoring or Wade's scoring in those weeks. But he's scoring the best I've ever seen him, and can he keep that up is going to be your question that you need to answer. Now, Riley Smith, I find a very interesting one. He got the cheeky goal on the weekend as well before their bye, and I think that bye really helps him just to get some rest. He's played 60 odd, and 80 minutes the last 3 weeks, and I expect him to stick up near the 80 minutes. He hasn't had any real attacking stats. He had 3 tackle breaks the whole year, 0 offloads, still the odd error each game, hardly running the footy, little bit of kicking, and has 0 try assists and 1 line break. So he's a guy right now that is at the sort of floor of what he can score. If you're seeing those bigger minutes there, it's 35, 31, 33. That's a 33 average straight up and 7 points of value. So that gets you very close to 100k straight up with Riley. He can help you for round 12. And then you probably don't want to play him again anyway. So he can be easily sold later on, near their round 15 bye, or you just have him sitting there and he's just back up and he's doing his thing. And if he's playing 80 minutes, then he's surely at some stage, he doesn't have 6 missed tackles a game. He gets the odd tackle break. The team starts playing better and their defensive line's better, and he can get some attacking stats as well on the other side of it. That's all the chance. Unsure if it's going to exactly happen, but I think there's 40 upside in Smith, which is plenty of value cash-wise. He can help in round 12. Just a very easy downgrade pick that is slowly going up in prices. You can see there, 283, 308, 330, up to 352. He's just adding a bit each and every week, and that will continue. And if he hits a 40 or something like that, it goes a little bit faster. So Riley Smith, a good downgrade option that'll just do a job in round 12 and help you out. Jerry Marshall King, people are still talking about him, and this is kind of what he does. He has the odd good game. He's not playing 80 minutes the majority of weeks, though, so be aware of that you kind of want him to be up near that 80 mark that we saw last year, and he had 70s in his game, and he doesn't have that yet, and those 70s is what drew me in last year, and he's just not doing it at this stage. So I think you can leave him out personally. 628k, he's got the injuries there that do come up for him like last year, and we saw he's got the leg laceration, and he'll be fine, but I think you can do better in that position. I had to mention Blake Brayley because a few people are picking him up, and he's been fairly consistent this year. It's been an improved year, and he's averaging just under 50, priced at 47. You know he's going to do a good job for you. He helps you out with that situation I was talking about with Mamo being out in round 12. And then in round 13, Blake has the bye, so you don't have to worry about him in that one. Round 15, though, you'll have to pick between the two. So that's where I think guys like Riley can work well. Guys like Aaron Clark can work well because Riley's cheap. Aaron can play both positions. So that's why the main reason why they're good. These guys can do a job for you as well, but how important are they? Are they really going to help you, or are they just going to be okay in a position that's okay? Jaden Brayley at 428, a massive minute game for him on the weekend, and picked up 58 points and did a really good job there. Last 3 weeks he's been increasing, but you're still buying him at a 32 average, and Phoenix is back in the starting side. Phoenix with the issues that he had with his ankle, I think that's why they moved him back to the bench, and it's a good chance that Jaden goes back to the 50-odd minutes, and priced at 32, he can make a bit of money, but probably not worth it, although it could be okay. It's a hard one. Let's go Xavier Willison, and I think for him, he's a pretty interesting guy to look at if he's going to be playing some decent amount of second row, and I think he will. The last few weeks there, he has started in that position, and you do see that round 7 one probably takes you away from being really interested in him at that price at 36 there, which is, when again, just learning from that guy's price at 36, he's averaging 36. To be priced at 36 is 487k. So how it works is like 36 times 13,000 something gets you 487,000, whatever it is. 36 times 13, blah blah blah, gets you to that number. So just when we say priced out, that's what that means. It's where he's where he's been scoring. He's been very consistent. So his average, if he hits a 50 this week, his average will be way higher than where he's priced at. For example, just the way that it goes. If you score poorly for a bit, you'll be priced at lower than probably where you're averaging if you have a little bit of a run, good or bad. But that 33 and 62 probably takes you away. Like, he had the perfect game on the weekend for 62 in the full 80. It looks like he'll spend some more time at edge, potentially a little bit of middle and some edge, and that's great. That's very helpful, but he has to average like 45 for it to be worth it with the buy in round 12 and 15, so it's probably a no. Tuivasa. Now, he scored really well on the weekend, 49 and 33. The minutes for him have been around the 20 mark, and he had 33 minutes in round 4 for a 25. Now, that game on the weekend was his best by far, and can you expect the meters gained to be that high on a regular basis? Probably not. Can you expect him to score a try? Probably not. He's priced at 19. Can you expect him to average about 25? Yes, he's hit that number once other than the 49, so it's not a great pick. We haven't got many cheapies, that's the thing. You've got Savala, you've got Tuivasa, you've got the new Dragons halfback, which I haven't worked out his full name yet, Lika, the first name, which we'll get to soon. I'll learn that one very quickly, especially when he goes well on the weekend. But you've got a couple of these cheapies that are here. They'll be okay. They're not going to help you too much. You could play him as a round 12 mid, but do you really want to? You could get 15 and be a bit annoying. So a fine pick. I don't know if you're buying him as a round 12 player though, or if you're just buying him as a cash down that can make potentially a little bit of money and you hope for a good score in one of the weeks. All right, Adam Fanua Blake, 733, a big one on the weekend after sort of being on 47 near full time and then clicked into gear in that last 5 minutes or so, and then the last 9 minutes of overtime. But he had a couple offloads, had his 6 tackle breaks, good tackle numbers, and good run meters. So we know that these games are in him. That was actually his highest score of the year after having 2 68s. And look, it sounds like he's back to somewhat full health after the 2 lower minute games with the groin injury. That's great news. You've got him priced exactly where he's averaging and is a terrific pick over the next bunch of weeks. He will be great for round 12. Be aware of how many mids you do select from the Sharkies. So you've got him, you've got McInnes. They could all do a really good job. Just be aware of that, given they missed round 13. But also you've got returning guys. If May makes Origin, which he probably does, you've got him returning in round 13. He will play. You'll have other guys that you will have in your squad, like Toby Couchman, the like, that could fill that round 12 spot, Aaron Clark, whoever else you have. So it probably won't be a big deal of having Adam Fanua Blake in round 12 and missing round 13. So he's going great. He's a good guy to buy over the next few weeks, definitely. Joey Tarpany, similar situation. You're just getting him at a very high price. So Had the 38, went back to 56 minutes and got the 64 with a try assist, and his attacking stats are really up this year. So personally, as a non-owner, I will be waiting until round 11 or round 12. Like, he might be a straight swap from Isaiah Yeo in round 11, to be honest. And I'm hoping that he gets down a little bit cheaper and he has like a 40-odd, or a 50 and a 48 or something like that, and drops a little bit of cash so we can get him at like 750, because buying him at a price of 58 is very, very high, which is, similar to what we're going to get from Isaiah Yeo. So basically would be a straight swap, but he's killing it. We know what he can do at certain times of the year, and from usually with Tarpany, you just buy him at origin time and go for the rest of the year, and that might be what people do here. He plays round 12 and round 18, misses round 15, so yeah, might be okay for you. We'll see how it works out for your team. Max King, bit of a lower one last week with 42, but he has been flying and had the lowest score of 51 before that. He's priced at 55, a similar situation with what we saw with Tarpany. He's just had a bit of an uptick this year at the start of the year. I think it drops down just a slight bit, which we saw the 42. They'll be better on the weekend. I think he scores better, but I think you can pick him up closer to round 12 if you want him. I personally won't be buying him at a 55 price point, given I've had him last year. I've had him at different times, and he can do really well, but then he can also have these low games there, 47, 39, 41, before a couple of good games and a slow finish. So he can be very up and down. He hasn't been this year, and you just have to be aware of that kind of stuff. McInnes, the alternative for AFB, or you can get both, but he's priced at 52, hitting a 54 average. And the reason why that's slightly different, guys, is because he had that 74 in that first 4 weeks, and he's had a couple of 45s in there, which has dropped his price in the last few. Coming off 69 minutes on the weekend with 58 points, did really, really well. I'm surprised that wasn't a bigger week for him, 46 tackles, 3 tackle breaks, but he had some misses and had a penalty as well in that one. So McInnes, a fine option as well. Very, very low ownership. The problem with McInnes is that his team's just got no origin, guys. So you'd want him to have a bunch of those players in his side so he can go the 80 minutes in certain games. And he's only had to do it that once where he had 75 minutes and Adam went and crushed it as well. I think McInnes is a good pick for the rest of the year. But they still haven't had a bye yet, so you do have to consider those types of things as well. Bowie Fermor with the 109. What a freak that was. Now, with Bowie, we haven't seen him absolutely crush it like that ever. Like, he's had a couple of 70s in his game. You see 2022 there. It was high 60s, scoring tries, doing good stuff. So I expect that to be a flash in the pan. He had 2 try savers, a turnover tackle, 2 line breaks, try assists, a try, 48 tackles, which you rarely see him do. He had 60 in one game in round 6 last year. But the majority of time, he doesn't have those tackle breaks, doesn't have multiple offloads a game apart from his first game this year. So you can see there the up and down nature of it with centre. Sometimes he scored a try and got 49 in back row last week, and some people trade him out because he'd just been scoring terribly. Ups and downs are crazy. 718k into all the way down to 609 and back to 658. Now, I think he's a good pick overall. He's got him at a 55 average now, priced at 49, and I see him being like an early 50s guy, similar to from here on out too. You can't take that 109 into consideration anymore. It's gone. You have to look at from here onwards, and it's probably early 50s. So you're almost getting him bang out where he's priced at now. Last week was the week to get him price-wise. Again, you didn't know he was going to go nuts, but now that he's almost priced at a 50, you're probably paying for that. He doesn't play around 12. I think it works out for you if you buy. He makes money this week, the next couple of weeks, and then that 109 goes out of his rolling average, and it kind of slows down, and he goes back to probably just hanging near the 700k mark for a bit and then dropping back down. So Fermor, really solid guy, centre, edge, dual, all the good stuff there. Can definitely do a good job for you. Love watching him play when he's in full flight. Does he make origin as well? I think there's a good chance. Like, they haven't got many edges right now. You're looking at like Nanai, Gilbert, Capewell. There's a lot of sort of older guys mixed in with Nanai who's been benched and different things like that. So Bowie probably makes origin, especially after a performance like that. And I think he should. He's the type of guy that Queenslanders love to play with. And he just rips in, no fuss, does the job. So he's a great guy to own. But has his risks for sure. with moving to centre and all the rest. Dylan Lucas, he's alternative. Priced at 52, averaging 57. So for him on the weekend, he got that little early mark, which I think was good for him. He plays all the way until round 18 now. So if you can manage to get to Lucas at 705k, I think it's a good pick. Made plenty of tackles on the weekend, so that was nice, and didn't get to run the footy as much because they were defending lots. And unfortunately for Lucas, it's a very different landscape this night side compared to the first 2 games where he was crushing it. Picked up 2 line breaks and a try in that first couple of games, and he was able to run the footy more, which unfortunately right now hasn't been the case. He's got Rabbitohs, Titans, Para, and that's the same for all of the nights going forward. Can he be a 50 plus guy regularly and get attacking stats in this side that's really, really poor? That's the question. It's a maybe. I think he's still a really good pick. I'd probably pick him just over Beau Fermor, given Lucas probably doesn't make Origin, and picked up 49 in a game where they sucked and didn't play the full 80. So I definitely expect him to be somewhere in the early 50s, like he's priced at, and hopefully if the Knights turn around, you can have more upside, but unsure for now. Billy Burns, he's a 358k, and he's picked up a couple of good scores, 42 and 45 in the games that Teague Wilton has missed. The worry for him here is if you're buying now, he could make some cash, but it's probably only a few week play because he'll be out of the side when Teague does return. Nikora doesn't go to Origin. So let's just say it's 2 more weeks, Para and Manly. He may play the Melbourne game as well, but he probably won't play the round 12 clash. So you'd be looking to have him in that round 12 and in edge if you're buying him. I think it's hard to buy him for just a couple week play. Make some cash, potentially play him as a scorer, but we've also seen him not score super well at times as well in the 30s. In amongst some good scores there with the Dragons there. So last year at the Sharks, you see he's in the other side. He's on the bench, off the bench, I should say. That type of stuff. So he's okay pick, not amazing. Halasima, I think he's still a pretty good buy. The 39 minutes on the weekend was a little bit interesting. We do think he's earned it though, and to be almost a point a minute on the weekend, 37 in 39 is great. Like every time he gets the footy, he's very, very hard to handle. If he can get anywhere near the 60 minutes, we know that he's got at least 10 points of value, potentially 15. And if you need an edge, looks like he'll be there. He'll play some decent minutes, whether that's 40 as we've seen. We've seen 30 odd, 36 off the bench, and he got 31, 43, 28. So those 3 games in itself is outdoing his current price point. So if all goes to crap and he goes back to the bench, then he still isn't the worst pick. So at 410k, probably the last chance to really buy him unless he gets big minutes. If he sits around the 60-minute mark or less even, like we saw on the weekend, then he's probably just an okay buy, but it would be the last chance, and I think you can get benefit from it this week. Owned really high from people that I think bought him in round 1, so good stuff there, but lower ownership in the top 5,000 ranks at 8.74, 4 in the top 100 have him. So definitely a really solid pick, a point of difference guy that can do a good job for you with the stats that we've seen so far as a ball runner and decent missed tackle numbers as well. Vil Kickow, we still get a few people asking about Villy, and 606k, he's averaging 52.5, priced at 45. So I do understand it, but you do need to look at him in previous seasons, and he's got 30s, 28s, 41s, 40, 33, 26. You don't have to look too far. That's just last year in this dog side, and this year he's been incredible, and he's got try assists for days there, as you can see. He's got 5 so far in the 4 games he's played, and he's been in the 50s for all of them, bar 1 where he got 47, and that included a try saver and turnover tackle. So he's had something each game, try assist wise or try saver wise, which has got him up really high. We know he can have really awesome efforts, tackle breaks, offloads, all the good stuff, and still score really low like we've seen in previous years. You can see lots of offloads and still scores of 26, 33 with 2 offloads in each of them. Did have a 55 in the next one with a line break, 33 tackles, and the next game he hits 18 tackles for 7 misses. So defensively, the last few weeks he's been missing a few, and he's I just don't see him being a great pick going forward, especially in fantasy. And in Supercoach, he's all those attacking stats are great, but for fantasy 606k, I think you can do better. I'd rather you just spend up and go to his counterpart on the other side in Jacob Preston, who is just an absolute jet. And the big thing with him is, the consistency is going to be there. When he's not injured, last year he averaged 59, which is what I expected from him at the start of the year, and it's what we've got so far. Their team was terrible last week, and he still got 54 with 47 tackles, and we know that these are the types of numbers he can get. As long as he's running the footy, he'll get 60s and 70s in there as well. So Preston, a great guy to look at. Yes, you could be spending a little bit less in other ways, but the consistency is there from him, and it's not an up and down, flash in the pan type guy. Chances of him playing Origin are fairly slim, and he plays all three major buys. So Preston is definitely someone I want to target at some point, whether that's here after their first buy, their second buy, or for round 12 will remain to be seen based on how my edges are going and things like that. But it's definitely a spot that's wide open for me, and is a guy that I'll be looking at. Hugo Savala, if you haven't got him yet, guys, just make sure you do. Question came through about if I have Sandon Smith and Fogarty, do I need Savala? Look, I just think he's going to make you cash, and he's going to score pretty well. If you don't play him in round 12, that's fine. You can loop him potentially with other halves that you may have. You can loop him and Sandon or him and... No, you're probably out of loop one, wouldn't you? Yeah, given they played the same team. That's the hard part, actually. But Savala, just going to make you some cash and could be a scorer on certain weeks as well. Next week when... I was going to say it. Next week when Roosters have their bye, you could loop him. No, you can't, Jamie, because he's not playing. But yeah, I think just get him in. He's easy cash down, helps you make other moves, and makes you cash. King Togia, so it's Lycan. Yeah, that's right. I was correct, I believe. So he's actually played a few games, which is helpful. 9-1 in very low minutes, 29 in interchange games, 31 at 5/8, and he got 80 minutes, made good tackles, 23 for 1. And that's the big thing to note. When I look at his New South Wales Cup stats, he's got close to a 90% tackle efficiency. He is an attacking player that doesn't kick the footy much. So someone also put in his scores in the last few games, 50-odd, 23 and 69 or something, his last three. Has heaps of try assists, has a bunch of tries as well. Flanagan will take over this side. Lycan, you can easily buy this week as a cash down. You can easily hold off, see how it works. If he scores well, if he gets a 40-odd, he doesn't make much cash anyway. He's 250k and you buy him next week as a cash down or the week after, whatever it is. And you're probably not going to play him week to week unless he's an absolute crusher. But I think if he plays solid, I think his spot in this team is very, very safe with Ilias getting the drop. I think that, yeah, if he's good enough, he'll keep the spot. So, yeah, this week, next week, whatever you please, he should be fairly solid. Moving on to halves, and remember, guys, I'm going from hooker all the way through to wing fullback in this buys video, and I'll do the same with the holds and the sells later today or tomorrow. We've got all the way through until Friday, so much time. Love it. Scary sometimes, like last week with the short turnaround. We get it all done, but yeah, this one's the long chill turnaround. Fletcher, priced at 50, averaging 54. The team sucks. He got 50 on the weekend, basically in tackles. And the try saver, that was helpful. As I said, with him, he can do it in so many ways. He's getting so many tackles. He defends really well. His highest missed tackles is 3 when he's making 28, 29, 27, 33 on the weekend. So that's great. He finally has a nice run of games. When I say finally, that surely that they can do something with. Still a good pick. You're paying basically what you're going to get from him. I think, hopefully, he can have 60s and 70s in him, like we saw last year when he scored a quad and all that kind of stuff. If Ponga does miss Origin, he probably goes to fullback, which, I don't know, hopefully they use him. They haven't been using Ponga at all, so that's the worry there. But generally, I think he's a good pick with dual position. Can play him in fullback and half, which you're probably playing him in fullback right now, especially when you've got someone like Jamal Fogarty absolutely killing it. So shout out to everyone who owns him. I think he's still a good buy. Priced at 55, averaging 57. Anywhere between that 50 and 55, if you can buy him, it's a good buy. And plays all the way through to round 15. Plays around 18 as well. It's a good setup, although buying him this week and next week against Melbourne and the Dogs, is that the best? I think he'll be fine. He gets base stats, but don't expect a million try assists and a try and all that again the next few weeks, like he did on the weekend with 2 try assists and a try. Oh, sorry, 1 try assist and a try. But 50s and 60s are in his bag, just in base. Great tackler. Awesome pick longer term. Mitch Moses, had to mention him as well, given he's priced at 59, but he came out with a good one, the 51, 3 try assists, did have a try saver as well, and a 40-20. If they can start playing better, then I think he scores well. He scores in the 50s and the 60s. Made 8 tackles on the weekend. Surely they get out and run at him more. That was a wild game, that one, for base stats, like we saw with Katonga, the issues with Katonga and those types of guys. But I think he's a fine pick. Sorry, I think he makes Origin, though, so hard one. Hughesy, 560. Priced at 42 is wild. He's actually averaging 36, so it's not super exciting at all. He does have a 16 in 41 minutes, and his highest score of the year is 46 in 59 minutes there. So for Hughesy, the pod, it's Canberra, Tigers, Cronulla, which isn't too bad, into round 12 and 15 buy, but I don't think you can go wrong with buying Hughes at 560. His break-even's 56, so you could even wait another week and then buy him against Tigers and see how it goes. He could score 40 again and just continues to get lower, but I think he'll be an option at some point for everyone. Some people are looking at buying this week. I know Mitch mentioned it on his video as a fun pick, and he definitely is. And last year he got all the way up to 825k. So you're getting a 260k discount for, yes, someone that hasn't come out and played as well as last year, not kicking for as many meters and stuff, although he did on the weekend for 357. Tackle break numbers are so low for him in offloads, which is what he had last year. He had lots of tries, which he hasn't had either. And if the Storm get their attack really into gear, then he'll be an awesome pick as well at some point. Could be this week, could be following weeks as well. Isaiah Katoa at 672k. He is an absolute jet this year, and lowest score of 46 on the weekend, the one we just went through. Getting his odd try assist, still only had the one try. Good tackle break numbers, the odd offload, running the footy. I think he's a very safe 45 plus at the moment. Priced at 50. Does a good job for you over this next period of time. Like 12-15 he plays, misses 13, which hopefully he can cover with Savala and these types of guys if you need to. And yeah, he'll be a good pick long term. Not much else to say on Katoa. Doing really well. Nico Hines, priced at 54, averaging the same. He's got 56 and 60 the last 2 weeks, and there's been moments that he's looked really good and he's really involved in the attack. The tackle numbers on the weekend I was very promised by. That was very promising, I should say. That's back to some of the numbers we saw last year, high 20s, and what we saw with Fletcher Sharp. And very funny that I got Fletcher Sharp and Hines, and they're basically relying a lot on tackles to get their scores, especially with that kick meters really down. So hopefully that changes. And last week he had 316 kick meters, which was the second highest of the year, and then back to low 42. So hopefully that gets back into his base. Trindle only had 200 and something anyway, so it wasn't a very high kicking game. And hopefully it can be back and forth a bit more over the next few weeks, and he can get a try in his game, continue with the try assists. He almost had 3 on the weekend, which was great, and get back to running the footy, which it's on and off. So I can't really recommend you buy him. Just the way that it is a tougher watch at times, but still picked up 60 on the weekend and did a good job. So thank you, Nico, for that. So on Cobo, 426k, priced at 32. Had a good score on the weekend with the 43. Did end up kicking 3 goals though. So with Reynolds back, you take that 6 away. It's 37 with a try assist and an offload in the end. So it's okay. I just don't think he's going to dominate, and he doesn't play 12 and 15. So it's a bit of a no for me with Cobo, but we'll be fine. I'm seeing some people grab Brent and Hayden. It's hilarious and I love it. Priced at 23, averaging 35.5 so far. In the 2 games he's played, he's actually done really well, and he's looked good this whole preseason, and then got the injury. But 30 and 41, look, he's averaging that amount, and he could continue, but we've seen him hit single digits and 20s and 11s and all these crappy scores over the career. So I cannot personally recommend you buy him, but he is a cash down option in center and wing fullback. Hilarious as it is, people are buying. And he's averaging okay. Nwangani Tawaze, 498k. Price at 37 now, it does become more difficult. Like, the last 2 weeks he's done well. He did score a try, got the 48, got 3 line breaks, big run meters, which is what we want to see with him reducing the tackles. We got the run meters on the other side, and you get the odd extra offload, the extra tackle break, that kind of stuff we might see, which we didn't see last game, but it's hard to top the 3 tackle breaks and 4 offloads against Panthers the week before. I think it'll be really solid. You got the bye next week. You missed round 14. You missed round 17. There's a tough few things there. You're still paying 500 for someone that other guys are doing a good job as well, at a similar price or a little bit higher than him that doesn't have a bye next week. It's a little bit gross, but I think overall he's a good pick for the rest of the season. Now, Bailey Simonson, a little bit under the radar. He's played really, really well in the couple of games that we've seen from him on the wing, on that right wing as well with Lomax out. 39-46, one with a try. Tackle breaking machine at the moment, 14 in his 2 games and averaging 200 meters, 199.5. He's doing awesome work. Price at 34. I do think he sits in that 40s, but for how long? And it is against Cronulla Dolphins over the next couple of weeks. So it's fine. People wanted to mention him, so I did. Farnworth, priced at 56. That's the big number there, isn't it? And had, of course, people buy him at his lowest score of the year with a try as well. So he's gone back-to-back tries. Plays Roosters, Para, Warriors over the next 3. A great guy to have all year, but do you want to spend the 756 on him, or do you want to go to Lucas or Fermor? All these types of questions there. A good pick. We spoke about him last week in more detail, but yeah, do you want to go for the other guys instead? Now, Carraz, I think, goes nuts this week. I'm putting it out on the record. I'm feeling, I don't want to see that 89 as a non-owner, but it'll be good for my Supercoach team who's in the pits right now at near 10K. Almost doubled my rank. Tough. But I think Kiraz, he'll beat 59 this week, is my call, and he will get his first try of the year. And I'm keen to see it in Magic Round on Sunday. Yeah, first game Sunday. Priced at 47. I expect him to be a 50 guy this year, and game to game he'll have different really good scores. A chance of origin as well, so keep that in your mind. Kaylee Rowe, he's back in action, priced at 51, absolutely crushing this year. Was on 40 with the try before halftime when he got the injury. The big thing with him is how well he defends, the tackle breaks, and he is one of their best weapons in attack. So they lose Hiroti, they gain back. Apparently he's changed his name to KL after I saw that. Apparently he's changed it. So there you go. Good on him. Sounds the same anyway. Doesn't change the way we say it basically, which is cool. But a great player, a great centre pod, given he's had the injuries. He got Para this week. Could be fun. Could be a lot of fun on that left-hand side. We'll see how it goes. I just love watching him play, and I'm so happy for him to be back. All right, wing fullbacks. Drinkwater, 667K, priced at 50, averaging 51. He had his best game of the year on the weekend, still without a try, but had 3 line break assists, 2 try assists, a line break himself, and offloads and tackle breaks. Did it all, kick goals. If they continue to play well, which we should see over the next few weeks, it'll be close against Warriors, maybe similar against Penrith before their bye, and then Manly as well. Has the bye in round 12, and then following that is a terrific pick for the rest of the season. If we can get him under 700K in round 13, I think that's a good pick. Over that can be a little bit tough. So you can buy this week. Is there other guys cheaper, whatever that you want to buy as well? Drinky, doing well. The goal kicking just helps him out with some of those lower scores that we saw when they were playing poor. But since they've started playing better, his lowest score is 47. 55, 62, 75. So a great guy to own. And I'll probably buy him in Supercoach this week, which will make it a little bit more easy as a watch. Robert Darby has been picked up this week following his massive 73. The question is here, can you buy him after 20, 29, 24, 21 to then have the 73? If he goes back to the 20s, when he's priced at 25, he won't move very far. He'll go up a little bit with a negative break even, and then he'll get to 400 odd, and then he'll probably go down closer to 350 again. If that's where it stays. If he's turned a corner and he's a jet now, I hope he is, because we've seen him have this in him as a good runner of the footy. I'm just not sure if it's going to stick longer term, and yeah, it's just a cash down type of pick. Tedesco is 667. Still have to look at him. Like, he had a cracking finish to the game on the weekend, picked up his 2 tries, his try assists, his couple of line breaks as well. A very much close to ceiling game for Teddy at the moment, the way things are going. They've got the bye next week. I think I'll wait until probably around 12, to be honest, with Teddy now, personally, and see where he's at. Because they've just got 3 buys in the next 8-9 games. It's really, really tough. And then he's a chance of making Origin too. Like, if Edwards gets injured, then it's definitely Teddy. So and he could fight his way ahead anyway. But he's been awesome, but just he got the 23 in his game as well, so be aware of that. And I thought I should mention Greg the Leg in this video because he's still priced at 45, averaging 50, and he has big games in him. So just got the 40 on the weekend, would have been 60 with the try. So if he got the 60, people would have been talking about him as still a buy. Good run meters. His tackle breaks and offload numbers are always good. Of course, I buy him and he has his lowest offloads of the year, but it's just how it works, isn't it? Still got errors in his game. Hopefully this little 3-game stretch is where he gets his tries. I'll be banking on it, and who's on it with me? He's 47% in top 100, 40 in 1,000, and 30 in the top 5,000. That's Greg the Leg, a fun pick as always. That's the big buys of round 9, heading into Magic Round. We'll get the holds and the sells. We'll get Scoop's video out. He actually sent it to me, but in a wrong format for some reason. I don't know why that worked out. So we'll get him to send that over. Probably when he gets home from work tonight, and we'll get that out probably tonight or something like that. We can spread it out a bit. You'll have my final thoughts for the week, and we're doing tonight going through buy planning with the private group. So I'll get that out to those guys early and get that one out to you guys on Thursday or Friday as well, just to help you guys out as well, and give the VIPs in the private crew a bit of an early mark on that one and go through their teams and stuff like that, which will be good to see. Good luck this week, guys. We'll see you in plenty more videos to come today, tomorrow, and on Friday when I'm up there in Brisbane. See you guys.